So I was recently asked whether or not you can use one of these cake molds, the Springform style cake molds that kind of pop apart, as a casting resin mold. The person was thinking about making bowl blanks in one, and I thought, I have no clue, but I definitely want to try it out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little experimenting today and see if this thing is a viable resin casting mold. So let's get started. So if you're not familiar with how these things work, they basically just kind of have a clasp, and this thing just clamps down to the base, and you got yourself a mold. Now, there are some kind of cracks in the bottom. I don't know how well sealed these things are in the base, especially when you're dealing with something that's totally liquid. I could test this, I suppose, with water, maybe, but I'm just gonna give it a go out of the box and see how this thing works. One thing you could do is put a little bit of silicone caulking around the edges. That could kind of seal any problems. But like I said, I want to just try it straight out of the box without doing anything to it first. Now, the one thing I am going to do, though, is I think that it would be a really good idea to use some mold release on this thing. It may actually not even be necessary. The resin may not stick to this material, but you're still better off. It's going to make it a lot easier to use a mold release of some sort before you start casting. So let's head over to the casting area and make a blank. Looks like we're having a little bit of problem here. Well, it looks like these metal cake pans may not be the best option. Now, this one may not be Teflon coated. I know that some of the other ones are. Most of those had a kind of a wavy, weird kind of textured bottom that I didn't really like. Those may work still. This one though, I mean, I even tried popping off the resin off the rim and it didn't really want to budge too much. So I think it's kind of stuck on there. I may end up having to cut this mold off of the blank, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I've spent, about 10 minutes messing with this and it ain't moving right now, but should be able to get the blank out eventually. Now, another thing that I want to share with you guys is I actually found a silicone cake mold, and it has a tempered glass bottom. Now, I haven't demolded this one yet, but I have high hopes that this is actually going to work. So let's get the camera in here. Let's try and demold this thing and see how this one worked. We got 1 out of 2 that worked. I figured that the silicone would pop right off, and I was pretty sure that the tempered glass, the resin doesn't stick to that. So we got 1 out of 2. Now the thing is, I could only find a cheap version of this silicone style at 9 inches diameter. There was another one on Amazon that I found that was like 6-inch diameter. But that thing was like $35, I think, or something. It was pretty high. Whereas this one was somewhere around like 15 bucks. So you got a couple of options if you're going for this kind of a cylinder type of thing. Platters would work well. And you could make a bowl, kind of a wider rimmed bowl type thing using this mold. So not a bad idea. Unfortunately, the metal one was kind of a flop. I don't think that this is a really great way to go. Like I said, it may be worth trying one of those Teflon coated ones. That might work a little better, but I think you're best off going with something that's silicone for this type of a casting because it's going to, release the blank a lot easier. So I hope you enjoyed watching this experiment. If this is your first time on the channel, we do all kinds of resin casting projects, tips and tricks, and experiments just like this on my channel. Some of them work, some of them don't, obviously, but we have fun doing it either way. So if you're interested in that, definitely hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the little bell so you get notified when new videos get posted. And if you're thinking about getting into resin casting, but you're not really sure where to begin, check out my ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Resin Casting. It answers all those beginner questions, like what do I need to get started, what resin should I use, all of that kind of stuff. It'll get you over that initial learning curve so you can get into the shop and start casting some stuff, having fun with it. It's available on my website if you're interested in checking it out. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.